Okay, let's dive into this because we're about to challenge one of the biggest assumptions in tech recruiting. You've heard it a million times, right? A great team atmosphere is the secret sauce. It's what companies sell to candidates, it's what they build their entire culture around. We all just kind of accept that it's this universally positive signal for attracting top talent. But what if it's not just wrong? What if it's actually filtering out the very high impact people you're trying to hire? So let's put that core belief right on the table. Is a great atmosphere really a universal hiring signal? For years in the IT world, the answer has been a massive, resounding yes. It's the whole basis for culture fit interviews, for employer branding, the whole shebang. But we're going to look at some fascinating data that suggests we really, really need to question this, especially when we're talking about those high agency, get it done kind of people. And boom, here's the record scratch moment. This data comes from a survey of 190 IT specialists all across 41 countries. And what it found was a negative correlation. Look at that, minus 0.1632 between prioritizing atmosphere in the team and something called the red vMEME. Now, if you're not familiar, the vMEME framework just models different value systems, basically what makes people tick. And the red vMEME, that's all about personal agency, power, and making an immediate impact. And see that critical value? It's 0.1431. That means this finding is statistically reliable. It's not just noise. So let me translate. The more someone is driven by individual action and winning, the less they care about team atmosphere when choosing a job. Wild, right? So what on earth does that actually mean? Well, the data points to a really clear pattern for this type of talent. A great atmosphere, it isn't a prerequisite for them to do good work, it's a byproduct of success. They don't join a team because it feels cozy. They create an amazing culture with their teammates by shipping product and achieving really hard things together. You know, one manager in the study put it perfectly. These high performers don't lead because of bad culture, they lead because of slow wins. The good vibes come after the victory, not before. Now check this out, because this is where it gets really interesting. This isn't just some general trend. When the researchers zoomed in on just the management roles, your product managers, your team leads, that negative correlation got even stronger. It jumped all the way to minus 0.2429. This just hammers the point home. The more a role is about agency and driving results, the less a prepackaged team atmosphere even matters. They're there to create the environment through action, not to just, fit into one. So here's where it all gets messy. What happens when you try to optimize your hiring for a single definition of culture fit? Well, your red-driven person sees that mandatory team bonding event and just thinks, is this bureaucracy slowing down my impact? But at the same time, you've got a blue vMEME team member, someone who values stability and process, and they're seeing that person's directness as just totally disruptive. They're thinking, hey, where's the protocol here? And then you have your orange vMEME leader who's all about strategy and efficiency, and they're just sitting there asking, okay, but what's the ROI on all this bonding? It's the exact same situation, seen through completely different and often clashing value systems. And this brings us to an absolutely crucial point. What we've been looking at, all this data, it explains a preference. It tells you what this type of talent looks for when they're picking a job. What it does not do is predict how they'll react once they're inside a culture that doesn't vibe with their core drivers. When you hire based on atmosphere alone, you risk creating what you could call a culture collision, where one person's strength is another person's problem. And that gap right there between preference and reaction is where so many talent strategies just fall apart. So this leaves us with a final and, I think, much more powerful question. Instead of asking, how do we build a better atmosphere, maybe we should be asking this. What makes our atmosphere read as valuable across all these different motivational systems? How do you talk about your culture so it signals opportunity and impact to your red-driven talent, but also stability to your blue team members and efficiency to your orange leaders? Because at the end of the day, hiring doesn't usually fail because of skill gaps. It fails because of meaning gaps. And that is a much more interesting problem to solve.